Cool. Hey everyone, and everyone who's watching this later on. Welcome to the Operator SIG meeting for this week for the Data on Kubernetes community. Yeah, we meet every second week, alternating between Zoom and Slack for our meeting location. This week it's Zoom, obviously. Just to talk about operators on Kubernetes and how it all plays into our work. We have a couple of items on the agenda today. Nothing major, fairly thin. Compared to some other weeks, which is fine. It's very much a symptom of this time of year. So we always like to start off with call it our fun community question. I suppose it's always a fun way to start. This week's question is, what is your favorite dish to make at home? Even if that is ramen noodles in the microwave, that's cool too. What's your favorite dish to make at home? We can go around if anyone wants to start. Yeah.
I could start there. It's not much more elevated than ramen. I like fried rice. It's I just it's cool. my go-to comfort food. If the rest of the family enjoyed it as much as I did, I'd be onto a winner. But but that's my thing.
Nice, that's cool.
I go next.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Okay. I like to prepare salad with tuna and potatoes. Peruvian potatoes are very nice with a good shape.
That's
yeah,
cool.
I guess for me, fairly recently, I've discovered a good Kagianis a recipe, which is a Greek tomato dish, and it's actually really easy to make. It's got tomatoes, eggs, and loads of feta. So it's super easy to make, but it's also cheesy and yummy and good.
That sounds fantastic. Cheesy and yummy and good is you got a winner there. Hi Gabrielle, thanks for joining. We're just going through the opening question of what's your favorite dish to make at home. I don't know if you have anything from your side there.
Yeah, I'm sharing that in the chat. Called tortelli di patate. It's a pasta with potato filling and ragu sauce of butter and sage that comes from my area, so yeah.
That looks fantastic, to be honest.
He's beat us all with a picture of that food, and yeah, I'm converted.
Jeez, that looks incredible. It's early in the morning here for me, but I could definitely eat that now. That looks great. From my side, I always enjoy what most people would call a good barbecue. I'm from South Africa. Before moving to New Zealand, we call it a braai in South Africa. Same thing there. Always do a good chicken marinated in a kind of sticky barbecue sauce. Fantastic, love it. Keep it marinating for a good 24 hours, and it's tender and juicy and fantastic. I love doing that. Very simple. Yeah, I'm okay in the kitchen, better on the grill. Cool. Well, let's jump into a couple items on our agenda. The one was from Elbro, who is not here today. He's quite busy at the moment. He's unable to make it. So we might not even have an update on that. But from the first one, there's a Data on Kubernetes white paper that let me just drop it here. The CNCF have been working on. They're requesting feedback on that. It's the storage tag with the CNCF. They've been working on this white paper on data on Kubernetes, and they want to present it later in the year at KubeCon in November and talk about it more there, which is very cool. And they've asked us for feedback on it. We've sort of had a bit of discussion on Slack about it. I know Gabrielle, I know you commented on it, and a couple other people have, including Alvaro and some others. I think Edith, I saw some comments from you. I'm not sure. Was that something else? No, not you. Okay, that was something else. But yeah, I dropped a link to it in the chat there. It's quite long, so you're not going to be able to read it during this call, of course, if you haven't looked at it yet, but have a look at that. Drop some comments on there if you haven't. I'd just be curious if anyone else has had a look at that and has any thoughts on it at this stage. I know, Gabrielle, I know you've looked at it because you commented, but if anyone's got any thoughts, I'd love to hear any about that at this stage. If not, all good. Cool.
Yeah. It's in my list, and I have been busy with other stuff also involving the CNCF. So, but yeah, I want to do it. So if
Cool.
it's possible to linger for a few days more, that would be great.
Yeah, I was chatting with Xing, who's Xing Yang, who's been organizing, who's been managing and stuff, and she's she'd love to hear back from you and your comments on there, but obviously she understands it takes time, so all good.
Yeah.
And if anyone else has some time they would like to have a look and make some comments on the doc, you can respond to some comments that are already there. Please do. It'll be really valuable. Yeah. Cool. Other item on our agenda was from Alvaro about an operator feature matrix update, which we've spoken about quite a few times in these calls. He is not here today, so we don't have an update on that. So all good. So that's fine. We'll skip that, and I'll see if he can post something in Slack about it later on. That is all good. Other than that, that's kind of everything we had in our agenda. But I know Matt, who joined, said you've been working with some operators at Google, and it sounds really interesting what you're doing. And I'd love to hear about that. So you had some questions. I think this is a great time for that. Got some really very good people in this call. You can probably answer some of your questions, and we can see where it goes. So I'm happy to talk about that for a bit if you all are.
Cool. Great. Yeah. So actually, my first question is more of a DoK question. I understand there are occasional lightning talks and that happen. We had an intern do some good work this summer, extending the local volume provisioner for doing cleanup as nodes fail. And I think that might be a interesting talk for this community on an upstream controller.
I'd love to chat about that. Yeah, we definitely do talks like that. We have a monthly town hall where we do talks like that, and that sounds like it would fit in really well. So yeah, we can chat offline about this. I'll ping you on Slack, and we can.
Yep. Yeah, cool. I'm on the DoK Slack, so that's really good.
I'll ping you on there. We can chat. That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the other thing that I'm just starting to get into here at Google, we are trying to improve the HA primitives in Kubernetes to allow like the kind of best efforts style pod scheduling and such that works well for stateless workloads that doesn't seem to be as compelling for stateful. So we're starting to try and figure out how to make that better. We have a few ideas. We actually did a roundtable here on DoK earlier this spring, and kind of my interest is in kicking that off again to see where the gaps are for stateful operators in the sort of HA and DR spaces.
That sounds interesting. Does anyone have any thoughts on that from your work?
I think, Matt, if you're interested, I can share maybe what we have written about our Postgres operator. And the limitations we found on the stateful sets and what we had to do to build that logic inside the operator. So we actually wrote a section in the docs to explain tag storage, why. So it was actually tag storage that suggested us to do that. So I can share that here just as a conversation trigger or starter, so.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So can you give me just sort of like a brief overview to help give me some context there?
So for example, take Postgres. Postgres has a primary standby architecture, which is typical of many databases. And basically we have adopted some ways to basically route the traffic using services. And we basically, with labels, we are also controlling which PVC, for example, holds data, or PVC group, because you can have multiple groups, multiple volumes for data, transactional logs, table spaces, and so on. So we have a set of labels that we have introduced that help us control without, for example, the risk of a split brain or other business continuity threats, typical threats of HA systems, to basically control the life cycle. So obviously, if there was already, something above PVCs that could handle or could give the same or a similar set of capabilities and also level of control of what we do, we would not have bypassed the stateful set. We're still using standard Kubernetes at the end of the day, resources like PVC. That's what is allowing us, for example, to introduce volume snapshot support, okay, for Postgres. And I'll actually be talking at KubeCon with Michelle on this topic. So, but anyway, I think that page provides some background about why we made that decision, and could be useful to maybe improve or get to a common ground or
Right. And so is this kind of in the space of the like ordinal based organization of stateful sets doesn't map well to like a primary secondary where you have to switch over who's primary and who's secondary without actually like restarting jobs, and there's just sort of no way to express that.
Exactly. And for example, we need to also be careful about the order on which we start a cluster. So for example, we can support rolling updates, so we can safely shut down the standbys first and then enable users to decide when to switch over. Or for example, the other interesting thing is that for some parameters, Postgres requires you to update first the value on the standby and then on the primary, or if you increase or decrease, basically it changes the order, and we need that level of control, and that's why we had to bypass all of that layer.
Yep. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Cool. Yeah, thanks. I will give that a read in detail, and and I'll also talk with Michelle. Because I had seen she had a KubeCon talk scheduled with you.
Yeah, good.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Gabriel. I appreciate you jumping in on that. Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to ask about, Matt?
No, that's sort of good for now. I was just kind of joining. I am also recently back from the summer holidays, so was just figuring on seeing what the scene looked like here. So don't have anything more specific at this point.
Yeah, I get you. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, well, was there anything else anyone would like to discuss while we're here? I know it's a pretty thin agenda today, so it's all good. But is there anything else anyone would like to discuss while we're here? Cool. Sweet. Well, just one small update. Well, not update really, reminder. KubeCon is coming up. I mean, you mentioned already in April, 18th to the 21st. The agenda or the schedule is now live. I think it's the complete schedule as far as I can tell. Yeah. Obviously, I always say it's subject to change, but the schedule is live. I will drop it in the chat here for reference. There is a DoK Day happening there as one of the co-located events, which is very exciting. It's part of that. So yeah, very cool stuff happening there, and we're excited to be a part of that. Melissa, who works at Constanta as well, is normally in these meetings. She just couldn't make it today because she's not feeling well. She was selected to speak, so she'll be speaking there, which is great. And it should be a great event. That's in Chicago. Sorry, that was I dropped the wrong one there. I was looking at the wrong page. Sorry, I had them both open this morning because I was comparing some schedules.
November 6 to 9.
Yeah, no, sorry. I had them both open because I was comparing the schedules to look at a few different things, and I had the wrong one open. Of course, I thought the colors looked wrong. Let's get the actual program here. Here we go. This is the one. November, Chicago. There we go. That's the proper one. Sorry about that. But the schedule is live. You can have a look at that. And yeah, November 6th to 9th should be a great one. And hope to, it'd be cool to see as many folks there as possible. And yeah, tell your friends as well. Tell your colleagues, let them know. It's a great event. Yeah, that's it. This recording will be up on YouTube probably later today. I'll get it uploaded and I'll drop it in the channel to share. Before we close off, is there anything else anyone wants to ask about or talk about, or anything you'd like to highlight that should be included in the next agenda? I can make a note about that.
Nothing for me.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah, all good.
Awesome. Cool. Matt, I'll ping you offline on Slack just to chat about speaking and stuff. We can talk about that. But thanks, everyone. Next meeting will be the same time in 2 weeks on Slack instead of Zoom, text meeting. And yeah, see you all there.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.